And welcome everyone to our Happy Pockets Full of Money book club. My name's Casey and I'm going to be hosting tonight, and really want it to be as interactive as possible. So everyone feel free, raise your hand, jump in the discussion. And I really did love chapters 8 and 9, acting, and I loved how it was titled That Which Receives. And then of course, certainty. Certainty is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And he says the most powerful force and the antidote to failure. So please, if you have your books, would love for you guys to follow along. But I want to go ahead and open it up. Does anybody have anything, aha moments that came to them in chapter 8 before I start kind of going up? I guess I'll start while everybody's getting kind of their mouths together and everything. I wrote down vibration is first. What causes vibration? Our states, our thoughts that lead to words. I remember my first bliss retreat that I went to, and Lenny Evans wrote that on the board. And I don't remember what he wrote. I think he wrote like awareness and not state. But it was where first comes our thoughts, then our words, which influence our feelings, which influence, everything in our vibrations. So I remember it was going like that, but as I've become a student and studying more and more, it just really all makes so much sense. And I also highlighted that in the beginning, there was the word, the vibration. And I know Cindy Vasquez, you posted in the group off of page 112, where you said the first step in creation of anything is your vibration. Remember that everything vibrates, and it is by that vibration that we harmonize and attract experiences to ourselves. Consciousness, in a sense, is a vibration. So those were just some of the things that I kind of really highlighted when it talked about in the action, because how many of us, and I'd love for somebody to talk on this and share on it, really thinks action or getting into action is one of the most important things that we could have done. I know when I started being an entrepreneur and stepped into a world I didn't know anything about being a network marketer, I was solely focused on action. I was focused on how many calls a day I needed to do, how many people I needed to talk to, doing launch parties. How many launch parties do I need to do? I mean, I was just so action focused. And was I seeing some results? Yeah. But was it challenging, or did it seem like a lot more work than what it is now? Yes. And I know that's my growth in general, but yeah, I'd love for people to talk on that, where they thought action stood in the form of creating what you want in your life, because this is an aha moment, I think, for a lot of people, this chapter. So Miss Murphy, I am unmuting you.
Yeah, I know we talked about this earlier on a call, Miss Casey, but I'll just share it with you all. I know I really resonated with when they were talking about the swimmer. We talked about the swimmer and the thrashing in the water. And, we can all see very clearly that there's a lot of, that requires a lot of action. And one of the things that I remember telling Casey early on was, you won't see anybody work harder than me. I'm a worker. I'll get out there and work. And I did. I just, I would go out there and I would work. And I didn't really understand all this. And then about a little over a year ago, I remember being with Casey. We were getting ready for a retreat, and we were at a friend's house. We were on our back deck, and she said, "This is what you need to be doing more of." And she gave me a book. And she was like, "Read." It was a Don Miguel Ruiz book. And, and I'd gotten all the books and all that, but I was so motivated by action, because that was my paradigm. That's what I saw. I saw my father go to work. I saw that when I went to work, when I did overtime, I made more. When I worked harder, I was more successful within that realm of nursing and whatnot. And so that was all I could see. And then I kind of went into this other phase where I was really, really into self-development. I was really into meditation and finding out who I was. And tonight earlier we had a call, and I was talking about how now I realize there's such a balance to it all. Every part of this holds a weight, and there's weight within the action, but there's also weight within the clarity, with the intent, with the, and so when we do all of those things and it's all in alignment, then that's when the magic happens. It can't all just be, okay, I'm just going to go out there and act. I'm going to hit it hard. I'm going to hit it hard. Action's so important, but there's got to be the thinking stuff first. And there's got to be everything that comes before that. And, it's amazing how I thought that I got certain things at certain levels. And it's also amazing to me that I'll probably look back on this at a later date and say, I thought I really had it then. Because progressively learning and progressively realizing more and more what we need to do. So anyway, that's what really hit me with it all was, and I can really relate to that thrashing in the pool. I did a lot of that.
I am sure absolutely many of us can relate to that. I'm hearing some background. I'm going to mute you out again soon. All right, let's see if I still hear. All right, I don't hear anymore. Just must be the connection. That is a perfect, think about that. Think about trying to swim, and winning a gold medal. I mean, that really, you don't just go out there and start. That's not the first step, it's the discipline that those Olympic gold medalists have too, to do those things every single day. Why isn't everybody a gold medal winner or an Olympian? They don't have that discipline to do those daily things, the proper rest, the proper nutrition, the proper fuel. It ain't just getting in the pool and swimming. It's, designing it, the having the coach, the getting in that freezing water too, the adjusting your body to swimming in different temperatures and, all those things. I know when I saw the Michael Phelps story and just seeing everything that he had to go through, I mean, even the amount of calories that homeboy had to consume in a day, that would be difficult to be intentional about eating that many calories to be able to practice that much. But him truly getting in the pool was the last step, out of all the other things. And if you think about that, that is really profound. So, all right, Tiffany, I see your hand up, and then Miss Kay. All right, Tiffany, you're unmuted.
Okay, I was taking. I love this chapter too. So on page 110, it's toward the bottom. The paragraph starts with actions are part of the word. But then I went about halfway down. That's where I started highlighting. Because actions are important for sure, but you must understand that they are the last step. Their role is to receive what you have already created on your other three levels. You create, then you receive your creations, then you experience them. Action is for receiving and experiencing. You create a business in yourself, your being, then in your thoughts and words, and then you act to set up a system to receive this business in a manifested physical way so that you can experience it. See, action does not create. It only receives and experiences. In fact, even when it comes to experiencing, your actions don't create the experience. Your mind does. Action just helps your mind to do the thing, then your mind decides. Will I experience this positively, negatively, joyfully, fearfully, fast, or slow? So that was huge for me because I totally was thinking, just like you said, I've done all these actions, I've done all this other things that I thought I was supposed to do, trying to master the craft, which those things are all important, like Dave MacArthur, but it's so important that that we think first, that we create it mentally first, and then we receive it through the actions. But the way he wrote it here just made it so much more clear to me and how that all works. So
he really did lay it out. I mean, just this chapter is so stinking good. And the action is, it is, you're letting the universe know, you're letting God know, you're preparing to receive the things that you've been holding in your heart, the desires, you're preparing to receive them, when we're taking those actions, steps too. And Dave MacArthur, he, so many of our mentors in this group, and on his podcast, he says it so many times. He says, but doing all the stuff leading up to the action puts it all in place, right? And allows us then to receive it. But it is the most labor intensive saving device one can do is all the other stuff that leads up to the action instead of just getting out there and kind of floundering and flapping around. But do we all start flapping around when we first get into the pool? Yeah, and is that how Michael probably started? As guy in a pool, no intentions to becoming this Olympian. He just found out that he loves swimming by taking a couple swimming lessons, flapping around. It felt, it resonated in his heart. So I do believe that that action breeds confidence. It breeds, it delivers some results. It pushes down doubt. But when we're in inaction, it truly does breed fear and doubt. That is when I'm in the most fear and doubt, and I start taking myself away from my goals and my visions, as if I haven't been in action long enough. So I love how it can be truly, though, the antidote, along with certainty, I believe, in allowing us to receive, just getting in action. Even if we don't know if it's perfect, I love action. Kay, you want to talk about that? I know you probably have something else to say, but what about just even being in action, even if we don't know fully what we're doing? I have found that that's been my greatest learning arena too, is getting into action and kind of making some mistakes. But I agree with you 100%, Tiffany, that it really does put it into full circle about how it is the ladder of the creation process. So Miss Kay, speak to us. Oh, Miss Kay, there you are.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I love this chapter as well. I love all the things that you guys shared. And Casey, you are exactly right about the flapping around in the pool. Here's the thing that I think is really, really important to understand, and that is that what we're really talking about in this chapter is taking inspired action. Consistent, inspired action is the way to the ultimate success of whatever it is that your creation is. And, the thing that's important to understand is that there is no getting around the splashing around in the pool. There is no getting around that. You just want to be able to go into that experience, understanding that that's exactly what it is that by going through your period of splashing around in the pool, you in fact are receiving. You are receiving the things that you have created. That is the receiving process, because it's just like when we have a child that is growing up and learning to walk. During the times that they're pulling up on tables and they're taking those first steps and falling down, we're not telling them, we don't feel like they're doing anything wrong, or, hey, you need to go and visualize more so you can get up and do this right. We cheer them on. We could totally celebrate them the entire way. And I think that that's what's really, really important to understand about when you're taking inspired action. When you move towards your goals, when you set business goals and revenue goals and all these different things, understand that you're going to have to give yourself the time to splash around in the pool. And instead of being disappointed when you feel like things are not happening as quickly as you want them to, understand that you, in fact, are receiving, that you, in fact, are doing on the exact path to allow your beautiful creation to manifest, and cheer yourself on. And I think that really and truly what David does in this chapter is he does a beautifully eloquent job of explaining something that I stated in an earlier meeting that we had. And that's when I said, really and truly, when it comes to all of these grand visions and beautiful goals, we are not here to make it happen. We are here to make it welcome. We're creating the condition for these things to manifest in our lives. Like I said, there is no acorn that is in the ground right now saying, oh, I'm just working really hard to become this awesome oak tree. No, it is what it does. There are no roses that are like, oh, okay, let me hurry and just really bloom really good. No, it blooms. It blooms. And when you go through this process, that's what you're doing. You're blooming. Even when you're splashing around in the pool, just understand that action, the beautiful thing is that when your action is aligned with your intention and your vision, you are absolutely on the right path. That is why you can have the confidence and the certainty and the faith and the relaxation to be able to feel good no matter what the results are.
And when we're feeling good, what does that do for our vibration?
Yes!
When
I like to say it's one of my favorite songs with Drake and Big Sean. I feel blessed. Way up. I feel blessed. That's how you feel, you know? I mean, and it really, really is a beautiful thing when we really embrace this understanding and this way of living. To be honest, you guys, like, really, you know, I mean, honestly, nothing can kill my vibe. And that's the truth, because I know that I know that I know that I know. You know, does that mean that I don't have different experiences that cause different waves of feeling or emotion to pass through me? Absolutely not. I can tell you specifically one time a month. You know, but the thing is that even that, I am totally detached from that, and I see it and I feel it, and I'm like, you know what? Ooh, I am feeling a little nasty. I'm gonna go and take some time alone, because I can let myself be human and know that this is just an experience that is passing. But at no time am I ever confused about who and what I am. And it's a beautiful thing when you can be in the face of very challenging experiences or, you know, outer circumstances that might not be what you want, and still feel total, absolute, unspeakable joy and the peace that passes all understanding.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. As always, the beautiful Kay. And just, and Cindy, I'm going to come to you, but I wasn't on the last call, and thank you again for hosting. But when, you know, you posted in the group about that amazing thing that you won, and I mean, one-on-one coaching with mentors like John Assaraf. I mean, I remember reading that book, The Answer, and seeing him at a Millionaire Blueprint event, and was just awestruck by him. And here you are, you know, with all those intentions that you've put out, and that visualization, and just, you know, every single day action and making yourself better. So congratulations, and just being the example and getting that phenomenal gift of all that mentoring and coaching and event. I mean, spending money, everything. You're gonna have a great time. We all want to see tons of pictures. Share with us everything about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I have to say, you guys, you know, of course that whole weekend thing looks really exciting, and I'm excited. That's going to be awesome, right? And you know, I love to eat. So I'm like, that's going to be great, right? But really and truly, the one-on-one mentorship for a year is like, oh my God. I can tell you that in our first coaching call in 1 hour, blew my mind. You know, totally, I shared with him my business vision, which is to have my business at a revenue of 10 million per year in 3 years. And I shared with him my plan and all of that to achieve that. He totally let me know where I was totally on base and doing really great at. He totally let me know where I was totally off base and totally bursting my bubble, and provided me with resources. And, you know, I mean, in 1 hour, my mind was totally blown. And so I am totally ecstatic about, you know, this entire next year. I'm just very, very grateful. And I think that this is such a perfect example of, you know, when we really get into really being in the vision and knowing that it's done, you guys, money is not an object. We don't let money determine what we believe is possible, because again, like it says, like we read, I think in the last chapter, the universe knows that there are infinite ways to bring something to us. Now, if you would have asked me, I totally knew that I, you know, desired one-on-one mentorship from someone of his caliber. I knew that that's where I was. But if you would have asked me how that would have happened, I thought that I would have been, you know, paying 6 figures for that. That's what I thought. But I never, that's if you would have asked me how. But I honestly never got myself caught up into how. I just created and affirmed and, you know, did the things that were in front of me, and praise God, it just totally unfolded that way. But I have to say that, you know, there is a verse in the Bible that says God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can think or ask. And I have to say, to have all of that for no money, That was exceedingly above.
And not even money.
I was ready. I would pay. I always keep, coaching in my life, so I would pay for it. I
Absolutely.
would not trip, but hey,
it's not even the money, it's the money that you're about to receive from the growth that you're about to have. So it's going to pay you.
Oh my God, y'all are my people, so I can say this. Can we just say like racks on racks on racks? I am so freaking excited. And this is another great point. This is another great point. This is the truth. To be very honest, this is the truth. I love blessing people. I love blessing people to live their best and highest destiny. That is something that I pray for every single day. It's something I affirm every single morning, that anyone who comes into contact with me, that they will leave better and higher and lifted in a higher state of consciousness than when they came to me, and that they will be moved to take action to achieve their best and highest destiny. Like, that's what I do. I do that for free. That's who I am. And so to be able to see my income continue to rise just as a result of doing what it is that I do is such an incredible blessing. And it really speaks to what we learn in this book about your value, about you sharing your value. To me, that's something that I've seen with the business owners that I'm blessed to help, that has been totally transformational in the results that they receive. Because I've had clients who had amazing things happen. One of my clients, she just, this was totally something that was unexpected. She spoke on Capitol Hill out against gun violence a few months ago. She had a meeting with Spike Lee last week and was featured in some kind of, anti-violence ads that aired on national television starting on Christmas Day. And something that I've seen that's been most transformational for people is when we really get to really understand that in our businesses, we feel like we are really, promoting our product or service or whatever it is that we do in our jobs or whatever. But really, when you get into the space of knowing who you are, being clear on your purpose on this planet, and sharing your value, like, honestly, I'm not trying to be funny, but I know I can sell whatever product that I want and make a buttload of money with it. Because if I believe in it, I know that what I am going to share with people, the value within myself, that is going to be the blessing. And each of us has that. Each and every one of you has that. We are all sent here by the same power. And when you really get to really tap into that and understand that that's what you're sharing, you can be detached from the results because, again, you're just going through your process, Oh, I do want to say this too about action. See, there is something that's important because I have also found that some people tend to not be in action naturally. And although action is the final step in the creation process, sometimes it can be very, very helpful to begin taking action as a way to get the energy circulating, to get your conscious mind on board with what your subconscious already knows. Here's what I mean by that. If you are someone, for example, someone who feels depressed, they are a spiritual being. Of course, there is a part of them that is a freedom-seeking being and knows that they want to be expressed and free and not depressed, right? But their conscious mind might not be on board yet. And so for that person, getting up and going out and taking a walk outside in nature and in the sun could be a very powerful thing, even though consciously they have not gotten the vision together yet. But when you take action, sometimes action can be very powerful in getting the energy moving and getting things in alignment. So I just really want to encourage and help people to understand that taking action is very important, whether you have it all figured out or not. Like Casey talked about, done is better than perfect. Just understand that you do have to do every aspect of the creation process.
Oh, we love you, Kay. We love you. You guys, that right there, everything Kay says, obviously always brilliant. We're so blessed to have you in this group, Kay. But it just stepped on, even the smallest action may be what is needed to move you on to great wealth. Everything counts. Every act counts, and every act defines your next world. The universe is one huge chain reaction. For someone, and it's okay, everyone, meet yourself where you are. Meet ourselves where we are. When I started, could I get up and talk about some products in front of people, just my experience or the research that I had done, and do these little home parties? Absolutely. Did the first 6 that I have, not one person showed up? Absolutely. But it didn't matter. I was in action, right? I was taking these little steps of action. Now, would I have gone and presented to, 100, 200 people? No, I wouldn't have done that. But it was doing those daily things, those daily home presentations, those daily that then made my vision a little bit bigger. Like, I wonder what it'd be like to speak to a room of people, right? And then start formulating. But it's just through those daily, tiny little things of action that can lead us to the next big thing and the next big thing. Phone calls, saying, how are you to somebody on Facebook has literally added over 2,000 people in my organization from one, how are you? Was that a huge action step? No, it was how are you? But that one, how are you, has led to over 2,000 people in my organization. All right, let us, Miss Murphy. You were, or not Miss Murphy, Miss Vasquez. I'm sorry about that. All the beautiful Cindy's in my life. Hold on, I want to make sure you're unmuted. All right, there you go.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, I totally love everything. Kay, you are awesome. You're amazing. I just love your energy. Oh my God, girl. Talking about vibration, and I know, Casey, you always talked about it. I always listen. Well, not listen, hear you. There's a difference between hearing and listening, right? So I got it. I totally freaking got it when it comes to the vibration, for example. And that's the part I totally love, when you're taking the action, right? Even though you already started the process of the creation and all that awesomeness, it's to ask yourself, how are you vibrating? How are you feeling, I guess? Why is it that you don't feel to take the action that is going to take you to that goal that you have been, I guess, dreaming or manifesting, maybe from childhood? You never know. It's been there. You have manifested, you have created. And I'm going to say I've been there where I see it, I feel it when I follow my intuition, but then I'm like, oh, me, really? I'm going to do something like that? So when I read that part, the first step in creation of anything it's your vibration. Remember that everything vibrates, and it's by that vibration that we harmonize and attract experiences to ourselves. Moment right there. No wonder all that I have attracted some lessons, but then wow, for me, way. Another thing that I want to read here real quick, consciousness. Consciousness is just so awesome. In a sense, it's a vibration. Happy conditions arise because you are happy, right? Like right now, I'm totally happy and content. I'm just me right now, and not the other way around. Wealth comes to you because of wealth consciousness. So it all depends on how you are in your wealth consciousness, because we all have wealth, right? Does not matter how small it is. We all have wealth. So that comes from us as well. And of course, yes, it all depends. Everything that we have learned from the surroundings. So before you act or do anything at all, first ask yourself, how am I vibrating? One of my awesome things to do lately now is to actually take a deep breath, like Lenny Evans and Casey and Dave and all of them. I truly do that now, and I am like, okay, what's going on? And I now understood the law of detachment. Let it be, let it go. It is what it is. You blessed, and you continue. You just focus on that no matter what's going on around you. So yes, it's a process. Me, for example, 3 years. Oh, well, it is. There's no time, right? It's an illusion. So you just take the steps that you are required exactly where you're at, because everything is illusion. And another one that I also remembered is the law of projection, meaning what you project, the mirror. Why am I that? Oh, I am that. But then, okay, why? So this was just an amazing reminder, amazing chapters. I love this book. It's just, I'm actually reading. So for me to say I'm reading is like, whoo. So yeah, I'm in love.
That breath that you're doing right there, it almost like resets us. It almost is like a reset when you take that breath, because then what starts happening, noise comes in, or if our vibration starts to go low, or worry starts to come in, or we start to take our minds from somewhere, or we're saying how something should be and not how it actually is. I love Wayne Dyer, how he says, don't ever take a situation and say it should be like this. No, it shouldn't be like that. It is exactly how it is, and it's for you. It is for your highest good. It is for you, and coming from a place that things are for me, and that deep breath can remind me that, because there's many times in my life where my mind starts going, or I start getting in this little, want to take me, but it's like, no. So absolutely, you guys, use deep breathing, use that breath to recenter yourself. It is a physical, it is a chemistry thing happening to you in your body every single time. When I think about personally the spiritual world and my physical world, I think about how abundant air is, right? And how God, the Almighty, the oneness, the ultimate, the universe is everything and everywhere, even in those air particles, and just how everything is abundant, just like air is, and we can never use it up. And when I take that air in, I picture it as just little hearts just traveling, and I hold my breath, and I just picture it going to every single area in my body. And there is a physical chemistry reset that happens in my body, and I can literally feel my vibration rising. And I invite everyone to try it. Breathing has absolutely changed my life. Absolutely. The simplest thing that's right here. It's free. It's in front of us. Use breathing. It is phenomenal. Phenomenal. The art of pranayama. Every single time we inhale and exhale can be an exchange between us and the spiritual world, between our spiritual self, letting it out and communing with the spiritual world, and letting it come back in. You can use breathing as such a spiritual process. It is truly incredible, and it's free, and it's always with us. So thank you for that share, Cindy. All right, let me see if I have any other hands up. I don't currently, so I am looking. So if anybody has their hands up, and if you guys could just mute yourselves back out. I think I unmuted Adam. Must be because I want to hear from him. I'll mute you back, Adam. But if you choose to speak, let me know. I miss your cute face. All right. Page 115 was the ending of, I'll tell you guys a really short little story. When I got back from my first bliss and I started to start breathing, truly breathing, intentional, purposeful breathing with intention, my husband, Michael, would say, people are going to think you're so annoyed with them because you're always just like, like sighing in a sense. It's like people are going to think you're annoyed. I'm like, no, I'm breathing. But I think the last full page on 115 really sums up the chapter. Remember that acting is a very important chain of the events, but it's not the start. Do not now ignore it. The way to wealth and happiness is the way of perfect balance. And this is what you were talking about, Cindy. Balance your body, mind, and soul. Balance the time and emphasis you give to being, thinking, speaking, and acting. So it is all that balance. And I think about being really is just not just my physical being, sleeping, just really taking care of my physical being so that I can have that ability to get as spiritual as I can. But then the words, what we're saying, but then that action. And we shouldn't spend all of our time in spiritual nutrition and ignore everything else. And what I loved about The Science of Getting Rich, a book, he said to be a martyr, to sacrifice yourself for everything. Because I'm such a giver too, and I love serving and I love making people happy. But there was something, when I read that book, it really resonated with me that I had to be selfish, self-love. I think the terms are not, can be accurate sometimes. It's not selfish to do self-love. It's not selfish to put yourself first and to do all these things, because in order to be that value that Kay was talking about, that value to people all the time, if I've not been a value to myself, I don't have that to give. Now, can we give first and then get it? Absolutely. But Kay has her hand, so I'm going to let her talk on that because I know she's got some goodness to say on that.
So you just touched on one of my favorites. aspects of this, Casey. I am a huge advocate of self-love and self-centeredness. I know that sounds so terrible, right?
Society has made us think that's terrible, but it is not.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, it is so not, because this is a mantra at my spiritual center a chant that we do sometimes, and it's really so true, and it's really one of the easiest ways I can explain this, and it goes like this: I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me, and my personal,
writing it down.
Yes, all right. It is, I love myself so much that I can love you. Okay, so it goes like this: I love myself so much, since y'all got me, that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me, and it's so important. It's so true. When we really take the time to cultivate the optimal condition for our best and highest good to emerge, man, that takes so much self-care. It takes so much self-love. It takes being very mindful of the things that you allow into your spirit. It means that you have to be very particular about what you surround yourself with. You have to be very particular about what you allow into your consciousness. I had someone telling me on the phone today, like they were asking me, well, but what do you think about, this and Donald Trump and, with the rise to power and this and this? And I was like, honestly, I can't even intelligently speak on that because I haven't seen the man speak one time. That's just not the world I live in. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm so focused on being a part of creating the world that works for everyone that I have no time to take in negativity that speaks about the lowest common denominator of human consciousness that is this much of the population. The things that are discussed in that forum that talk about, fear and destruction and violence, that is the minority of the human population. Most of the human population is like we are. They want good and peace and love. They want to live a good life for their kids and their family. But you know what? It's very entertaining, and it has a lot of shock factor when we highlight these other things. And so it's like we get to choose what world we live in. And I'm speaking on this so importantly because we can go and work out, we can eat right, we can do all these beautiful things. But if we're not being as selective for what we're putting into our minds, that's the tail wagging the dog. Because our consciousness, when our consciousness is elevated, that fuels everything else in our lives. That fuels everything else in our lives. And whether we know it or not, when we take in these different things, it affects our vibration. Honestly, can I tell you guys, thank you, God. I am blessed with an amazing family and amazing friends. My friends know not to call me with negativity and drama. They just don't do it. They just do not do it. They do not do it because that is how I guard my spirit. I am so protective over my vibration. Honey, if you don't have good news, don't call me. Do not call me. And that's not to say that, I'm insensitive to what people are going through or anything like that. But here's the truth that I know. If you are hurting and you need me to hold the space for you, I will do that all day, every day. But if you just want a space to vent and get all your shit out, baby, this is not the trash can. This is not the trash can. And it's very, very important that we are that way. This is self-love. This is self-care. If it does not feel good, it is not feeling God. And so you have to really take that time. And I'm speaking on this so importantly because, you know, Casey said, you know, the self-care, it just begins with our consciousness and our vibration. It is so important. You know, honestly, I have so much to deal with my own ego. I don't have any space to take in any other crap. I'm too busy working on keeping my own self straight. So, and I just want to encourage each and every person that, listen, when you refuse to engage in things that do not feed your soul, you're not being mean. You're not, here's another thing. You'll have friends who will, when you're going through something challenging, you'll have friends that will want to call you and they'll want to relive it, want you to relive it over and over and over again. I'm not about to tell you a sad story over and over and over again. I am not about to recant what really, really pissed me off over and over and over again. For what? Because I'm releasing toxic chemicals in my body. I'm lowering my vibration. I'm doing all of these things that are counterproductive to my best and highest good. And so I just have to say that being very disciplined in your self-care, being very disciplined in guarding your spirit and your vibration, those things are so, so important to making welcome the things that we're talking about, all of the good that you desire to receive. That is so important. And I just want to encourage everybody to do it. It's not selfish. Well, it is selfish. It's self-centered. And when you do that, that's when you can really share and pour love into other people. Okay, one more thing. This is my last thing. So this is my motto. Most of the time, my cup overflows. And when my cup overflows, I share of it freely. But if my cup is half full, I ain't got it. I don't have anything for you.
But Belinda Foster, she's on, and she really, one night she shared with me, you know, because I was talking about, I was feeling drained, you know, if we give a lot, because I wasn't pouring into myself, and you can feel that, and then things start to reflect it in our own lives, or your thoughts start going, and, you know, when we do put more out than we take in, there's an unbalance there, right? And it is all about being balanced, and that is the goal, to let your cup overflow. And she said, but Casey, all you can do is give somebody a cup. We all have the power to give somebody a cup. And she's like, you're giving out tons of cups. Now it is their job to fill that cup up, though, right? Now you can pour a little bit of when yours is overflowing, you can pour a little bit of it in theirs, right? And start their fill up. But then it is their job to start filling their own cup out. And so then it can overflow too, and the cycle can continue to give somebody a cup and put the first amount in there, and then to pour a little bit of yours when it overflows. But she's like, stop trying to fill everybody's cup up. You've given them a cup.
I love that. And that's really, really true. And this really speaks to what it is that we're talking about here. When we empower someone to be able to understand how to elevate their own consciousness, man, you're teaching them to fish. You're teaching them to fish. Yes, there is no greater gift, you know, and it's so powerful, because when you have someone who knows how to elevate their own consciousness, man, it transforms your entire life. Not only do you understand that you have everything you need for your business, but it transforms your relationships too, because you're no longer putting the responsibility on another person to make you feel any kind of way. I don't need you to make me feel happy. I'm happy. I remember this, I was dating this guy, y'all. Be engaged to him. I changed my mind though. He said this. He said to me one day, he said, I mean, Kate, and I just don't feel loved. I said, do you know that there is nothing you can do to ever cause me to not feel loved? I was loved and adored before we ever met. Like, my cup is so overflowing with the power and the presence and the love of God. I don't need anybody to make me feel loved. I'm here to share and receive love. I radiate that, and it comes back to me automatically. I mean, look at all of you. We have never, well, except for one of you, we have never even met in the same space, and I totally feel the love from you, and I hope that you feel mine. But I just, you know, it's just such a powerful state to live in when you can elevate your own consciousness and you show someone how to do that. Yeah, it's always fun. It's much easier to be around them, because when you pour into each other, that is living from the overflow.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I see so many heads like nodding because, you know, people are really just really getting that. And that leads us perfectly in to chapter 9, with certainty being the most powerful force and the antidote to failure. And where it talks about faith and belief. You know, it really, just like how you were saying 2K about nobody can make me happy. It's a decision. I choose to be happy. It's a decision. I choose to be happy. You know, but you can only be happiness. And then I know that was in the previous chapters that you guys talked about, but then, you know, in the state of being, well, if I am happy, then I'm going to start creating conditions that are going to bring me more things to keep that flowing and that going. And you guys, and when we raise it to that state where we make that decision, we start attracting other people into our lives who make that decision. And then imagine if your inner circle, your closest, because I have a huge circle, and then I'm blessed to have an incredible inner circle too, where people are so focused on overflowing their own cup that they then pour into me. Even if mine's overflowing, they're still pouring into mine. And imagine your friends. Nobody's calling you to talk about, you know, this hoo-ha or that in the news or whatever. People are calling us to talk about just greatness and elevation and consciousness and those type of calls. You know, so it's just such a powerful thing when we have that and we create that state of being. But remember, as you read on that faith is like a state or being. You cannot really speak faith. You can't do faith. You can only be faith. Faithful, be certain. So in the previous chapter too, it talked about when in action, it said, don't try to do something. If you're going to do it, do it. And there's so many times where I speak with people or I'm interviewing them about where they want to take their business in my organization. And it would be great. I'm going to try. I hope it works out. When I hear those words, now depending where they are, I'm not going to lash out and say, don't do that. But it just lets me know where their consciousness is, you know, as far as that. And then truly at that point, where do I deserve to spend most of my time with this person? It's probably a little bit of education on their belief and their certainty about this business, and to start educating them, sharing stories with them about how all things are possible, rags from riches stories, people that are just like them that have overcome a lot of adversity. So based on the decision that if this is going to work no matter what, when I made the decision that I'm going to do something, I'm doing it. And that's just it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to try to do it. I'm going to figure out how. What does Richard Branson say? Say yes, tell the world, figure out how you're going to do later. I think it's him who says that. It might be somebody else. Or no, I think that was Eric Worre. Say yes, tell the world, then figure out how you're going to do it. And so I love that. That is certainty. That is certainty when I can go to someone, and I was going back here, I said, look, I'm going to be $1 million earner. You want to come along with me? Yes or no? It makes no difference to me. I'm doing. There was no, hey, I hope I'm going to make it happen. Will you come? I'm certain. I know it. It's done. How Will Smith says, when he makes a decision, boom, done. It's already happened. He's just waiting for everybody else in the universe to see it, because it has happened, because he is so certain in it. Who wants to talk about certainty? Because certainty is the antidote, right, to failure. If there's true, I don't believe in failure, because failure is learning. But he says, because why? If you're certain, there can't be any failure for the ultimate end destination. There can't be. It's just not possible, right? Because you're certain. Who wants to talk about that? I posted on my Facebook earlier. I said, my belief is my only limit. Because that is true. Since if I feel it's certain and it can be done. So who wants to talk some? Oh, I see some hand raised. Miss Vasquez, I think you've raised your hand again.
Yes, I did. Okay. One thing on AHA, in a way, certainty, it's faith, right? Meaning there's really nothing for you to doubt, worry, or anything. So one thing I actually wrote here on my page, reading this chapter, I wrote an affirmation. I am certain I am now abundantly successful. I am now. So I wrote to myself, great example when you are faithful. So that means certain. I mean, so many, goals and dreams that I have actually accomplished in just this past year, not even in my drunk monkey mind, I would even thought of doing, I'm actually, acquiring it and doing. So certainty for me, it's not just being certain, like, yes, I know type of being ego type, but then when you take the ego out and you're coming from the spiritual world, being faithful, being humble, being honest to yourself, you're like, yes, certainty, yes, I know I am. Because it's within me, it comes from me, it was given to me, because that's who I am. I'm that awesome creation, that light that comes within me. But once we let the drunk monkey in, you start questioning the house and the worry and the doubt. And yes, we are human. We are here to experience all of it because we chose to be here. But for me, when I read this chapter, in the faith, and to be persistent, that's another amazing one. And I'm a huge fan of that, persistent, because I'm faithful. The reality is what it is, right? It is, totally. But then once you're persistent and you see it, you're certain, so you're faithful. So that's what I got from this chapter and how I see it and I understand it in a deep, deep level. Yes, it's a process. Yes, it's going to take actions. Yes, but I know I am.
Absolutely. It is a process. And I wanted to touch on something earlier too, that you said, you speaking again, made me think about that, where you're talking about, it's taken me 3 years. Well, for a lot of us, it's taken us a lot longer, and we never know what was placed into us as children through a subconscious, through teachers, through, one little word of, no, you can't do that. You're stupid. That'll never work as a child, right? Then going, or if somebody hasn't ever maybe experienced something to that level and then they get older. And so then that one thing, what has created our paradigm going through the next 20 years of our life compared to somebody else who may go into a business and reach success very quickly. We don't know what other people's circumstances, situations have been to compared to ours. And so then when we start doubting or judging or comparing ourselves or losing that certainty because we're in that little comparison zone of watching somebody else, we just don't know. So truly, is anything, okay, it's taking me 3 years or 2 years? No, it's taken me however old I am right now and when I started and what's happened to me. We never know what somebody's circumstances have been. So with you saying that, I wanted to express that. And on page 121, it says, have faith on the second one. Have faith, believe, know with certainty. When you pick up a glass of water to drink from it, without a shred of a doubt that you will pick up it and drink from it. It's not, I'm thirsty. Am I going to drink from it? All these things that start coming in and out. No, you do it with certainty. That is the level of faith, belief, and certainty we should have in ourselves, in the laws of the universe, and in the capabilities of the source to work perfectly at all times. It is the certainty you should have about your having received even before you have asked, and the guarantee that you have it all. And then it goes on the bottom of 121. How much faith, belief, and certainty should you have? You should have it. It is the level of knowing. It's not trying. It's not hoping. It is that level, that knowing. There's something when you just, how Kay was saying, I just know that I know that I know. I just know that I know. And you just know it to be true. Just as that you woke up today or that you drank from the water earlier, you are at that level and you are so clear that something is true and that it will happen, that you continue to be certain, even if something contrary appears to us in the physical world that then kicks that drunk monkey in and going. And Carrie MacArthur on a podcast that I was listening to, she said, your faith is put to the test. How many of us are in action mode or we're doing the things, right, that people are telling us to do, but then something happens to knock us down, right? It is at that moment almost, though, when the laws of the universe are working for us to let us know how strong our faith is, that it doesn't matter what's happening, that we have committed and we have decided and we are so certain that we keep pushing forward anyway, and we don't let it kick us down in our tracks to then have disbelief or uncertainty. Right. And so I love that certainty, I'm certain that about a global impact award based on what I have seen and experienced here doing some global things and the connection that I've had with people and the kind of impact that I want to have in some families' lives. I am certain that that will be awarded to me, but it's not because of the award. It's because based on the kind of transformation and changes that I want to do. Do I know how it's going to happen and the people that are going to come into my life to make it? No, but I'm certain there's not a shadow of a doubt that that's going to happen. And so just get certain. We all deserve to be certain. I see some hands coming up, so I'm going to stop. I didn't see those. All right. I see Stephanie K. I think I see yours again, and Belinda. Yes, Miss Stephanie, you're unmuted.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing great.
Hey. Okay, so this was such a powerful chapter for me because it so reminded me of how many challenges I've had in my own mind. I even posted a little bit ago on the Facebook group about this picture that I found of this little girl putting on her crown, like straightening her crown. Because for me, who I am has probably been the biggest challenge for me to reprogram where I come from. My daughter's here. Hi. But on like 118, it talks about whenever you catch yourself doubting or fearing, stop those thoughts in their tracks. And then if you go over to 119, it talks about observing them. You will be able to get behind them, get to their cause and their dark origins, and you will bring them to light and eventually eliminate them. So I love this picture. I literally printed it out and posted it on my bathroom wall so that I can remember whenever I get those doubts and stuff, I can go, what is the source of that thought? Okay, it's not from my higher self, that's for sure. It's from a different place that I don't want to listen to. I have to remember to straighten my crown and remember who I am. So I have this beautiful little crown. I totally blew it up 8x5. It's awesome. So I have this little girl on my wall, and I put her on Facebook. So you guys, if you want to join me,
name it to tame it. Tiffany.
We'll have to find a prince for all the guys.
That is, I mean, it's our, you guys, we're from noble birth. You know, we're from noble birth of the Almighty, the oneness. I mean, we are made in his like image, his, her, we are made in this oneness. And so we do all have that crown. We are all of noble birthright to be everything. And it's just all these conditions that have led us to thinking anything else. And Stephanie, I can say with certainty that you are not alone in that feeling. And when I started this, that was what I worked on, this personal growth journey. That's what I had to work on the most. And I still work on it so much because of that we do live in the physical world of society, and we are the rule breakers and challenging the status quo. But I do believe, like Kay said earlier too, there are more people that are good and that seek truth, even if they're not in these kind of circumstances right there. Their true being, their nature is so good that it's just because all this news and what people are allowing to feed in, they're feeding trash into themselves. They're essentially eating out of the trash can, with who they're listening to and whatnot. So that was a beautiful share, and I know resonated with so many people, so including me. So thank you. All right, Miss Belinda, I'm going to unmute you, and then I'm going to unmute Kay to close us out. All right, Miss Belinda. Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, my love.
Great. So I want to tie in what Stephanie, what you just said with what you just said just now and earlier. So the difference between why some people can manifest and get there proportionate to.
Are you guys losing Belinda, or is it just me?
Okay, so put your brain around that. Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Here, hold on. All right. Stop your video and see if that helps. Sometimes if your computer's not happening to do video and audio.
Great until I started talking. My energy's off the chain. It's not to the whole internet.
Your energy's gonna go. Yeah, exactly. All right, go ahead. Start over.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. So what I was explaining is the reason some people can reach their goal, get there quicker, however we want to label it, how comparison is the thief of joy. So, but there is a difference between people who can get there quicker than others, and it's directly proportionate to whether or not we are staying in vibrational alignment. Now, the way we know we aren't is what Stephanie said. Those days where doubt creeps in, or, you know, you just have those days as a human being, those moments where you get a little frustrated, and or even still some negative self-sabotaging thought that starts to creep back in, right? So the quicker we are aware of that through our lower vibration feelings and recognize we've stepped out of alignment with what we desire, the quicker we learn that process, then the faster things come to us. It's science. That makes sense?
Absolutely, it does. It's like quantum physics.
It's a lot of physics, but the more you study physics, just the clearer then things like Kay's been saying and what we're all saying. It's truly, it's science. It's working with the laws, right, Casey? I mean, that's just probably one of my favorite books outside of this one, is Working with the Laws. And you turned us on to that book, and that was a very life-changing book for me.
And because when we read information like this, at least for, you know, I do believe when people start reading this stuff or work something like Working with the Law, it's truth. And there's a knowing. You know that you know that you know that you know. And it resonates so much with our true nature, our true being, that it's so beautiful. And that is why, you know, and there is past circumstances then that then start creeping back up too, or then to recreate things. And it's just all this little mind trip that people, you know, start going on that take them away from the truth or that vibrational state. So absolutely, Belinda, love you so much. Is there anything else that you want to say?
Who, me?
Yes,
or anybody?
You.
Well, yes. Actually, there is. She knew it too. Casey, she's reading me from afar. There is an escrow. Here's the good news. Your thoughts, your powerful feeling, your higher vibration isn't lost. Each time we feel like we fall off that vibrational high, it's not lost. It's held in escrow. Now, how beautiful is that?
Very.
Escrow is huge. Know that it's still waiting for you. What is it waiting for? It's waiting for you to come back into vibrational alignment with it. That's the green light. That's speed of light. Now put that science behind it. I mean, that's pretty deep, but it's speed of light. And because we're not perfect, we're not the speed of light. Now comes in the law of gestation. So it's, sorry, but you know, we love our laws, don't we, Casey? Because
yes, ma'am.
How fun is this? Experimenting and actually now co-creating. You can see it. It's beautiful.
Co-creating. There's and anybody that has a question on escrow, Belinda did an amusing presentation, and there's some videos that she knows of about vibrational escrow, and I mean there was a lot of aha moments for me in that. So, absolutely incredible. I love you.
Love you too.
Miss your face. Can't wait to see you.
Miss your face. Gonna kiss it.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm just going to do a spotlight for a minute on this beautiful woman. Hi, Mommy. I just want to say, you know, in the end of this chapter, just that it said, and I started crying when I read it, not at this chapter, but in the book, and it talked about life is joy and joy is life. Well, her name is Joy, and it says that you come from joy. And I was like, I do come from joy, physically, spiritually, emotional, came from the loins of joy. So, and I love that. She's an amazing woman, and we call her the mom in my organization of everybody, but she is the epitome of a giver and love. So we love you, Mama Joy. Everybody does. Yes. All right, Miss Kay Fowler. Just had to spotlight Mommy for a minute. She does so much behind the scenes always. Miss Kay, take us away.
Yay, Casey's mommy. Belinda, awesome things that you are sharing. Thank you so much for that. I have a few things that I want to say on this, and I promise not to take too long. But
Floor's yours.
I have to say, okay, first of all, I just want to say I love the gallery view where I can see all of you guys' faces. You guys are so awesome. I love seeing you. You know, first of all, this chapter, I have to say, for me personally, if I had to pick one chapter, it's absolutely my favorite chapter. This is absolutely my favorite topic in the world, because what I am is a woman of faith. And man, first, you know what? One thing that I want to talk about that Belinda had come into my mind when she was speaking, and that is this whole concept of things faster. I want to encourage us to really reevaluate that perspective when it comes to achieving our goals of, you know, well, it'll happen faster if we do it like this, and then this will make it happen faster. Well, when you're walking in faith and you're in complete certainty, you know what? Time is not even the issue, to be honest. And it also reminds me of something that John Asraf says, and I love it. It was a question that he posed, and he says, you know, when it comes to you achieving your goals, are you interested or are you committed? Because if you're interested, then when things get really tough, you will look for the first opportunity to give up, or even if not the first, the second or third or fourth or fifth, because there's a lot of things that will not go your way. But if you're committed, then it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. This is so powerful. Do you know, at the end of the year, I love to read my old journals. I'm an avid journaler, highly recommend it. And do you guys know, I was reading my journal from 5 years ago, from 2010. And can I tell you that reading that journal, I was so feeling myself, because I saw that in 2010, I still had the same high vision. And when I look at the things that have transpired in those 5 years, not once did I question that or anything. And I'm amazed at there are things that are just now happening in my life that I was affirming 5 years ago. And guess what? They're happening right on time. And I was in alignment with them. And what's really important for us to understand when we're achieving our goals is that you're not seeking to achieve your goals just so you can have the thing, right? I know that, you know, especially when it comes to money, it feels like that at times, because it's like, well, you know, I know this would solve a lot of my problems. But the truth is, you are a spiritual being having a human incarnation, and you came here for your soul to unfold. There are things that you were looking to express and share. You have a purpose with gifts and capacities and talents to share on this planet. And all of your experiences with your intentions and your attention is what allows those perfect experiences that you called forth before you were even in this body to come to you. So each of us has a different journey, and all of us, we are all unfolding perfectly, especially those of us in this group, because this group already has their intention and attention on being their best and highest selves. When that is your intention, and that's where you keep your attention, you can trust that everything is happening perfectly, whether it feels good or not. And Christine, that's how you know, that's how you get, Christine posed a question in the chat of, you know, how do you stay out of questioning? You realign your intention and your attention. And if your intention and attention are in the right spaces, then guess what? You can trust that whatever the experience is that you're having, that it is exactly the right one that is meant to push you forward into more of who and what it is that you are meant to be. And trust me that is a being of abundance, prosperity, and peace and unspeakable joy.
Joy, joy, joy. We were meant for joy. And also,
okay, can I share one more thing, Casey?
Yes. We can listen to Kay all day. We need a Kay.
Look, I tried to be quiet, but she kind of left it open a little too long. So.
I was waiting. That was an invitation.
You can kind of jump right back in if you don't want me to talk anymore. So I wanted to share this chapter. For me, when I was first introduced to these concepts and when they first became clear to me is when I first read 3 verses in the Bible, actually 4, and I wanted to share them with you guys. And it's in Mark chapter 11, in verse 22. And Jesus says, it says, "Have faith in God," Jesus answered. "Truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Go throw yourself into the sea,' and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them." And let me tell you something. Jesus said a mouthful right there, because so many things. Because what he said was, if it doesn't matter how impossible something seems, it doesn't matter how unrealistic something seems, if you declare that, meaning do all of the invisible work that we talked about before the action, and that is all in alignment, and you believe that in the deepest parts of your soul, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If you declare that, it will happen. If you believe it on every level and fiber of your being. So knowing that, when you pray, really and truly, and when prayer, I see that as when we create. When we have desires that we create, and we say, okay, yes, this is what I desire, and then we begin to move in the direction of that. You want to always, this goes back to the I am statements, pray believing that you have. I am this. Honestly, I am a multimillionaire. I love how Casey said that. Yes, I'm $1 million earner. I know that. I love that. Absolutely. When you pray, you don't ask, you don't suggest. You're not, I'm going to try it out. Well, I'm going to see if it's possible. No, you know it. And you state it in the affirmative. And you believe that you have already received it, and it will be yours. And then I also want to point out that last verse, because it's also very important. It says, "And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them." And that is including yourself. If you're holding anything against anyone, including yourself or any circumstance, you got to let that go, because in the mind of God, there is nothing wrong. In your life, there has nothing that has been wrong. That doesn't mean there haven't been painful situations, doesn't mean there haven't been challenging situations, but each and every circumstance has pushed you to be more of who and what it is that you're called to be. And so when you are standing in your God consciousness, which is the consciousness that allows you to speak things into existence, where you know that what you say is done, you have to stand in that knowing, and you have to know that all is well. You have to stand in that vibration of unconditional love, because that is the vibration, that unconditional love, that is the self-givingness of the spirit. And that's what allows your value that's within you to be shared in exactly the appropriate, abundant, massive ways that it's meant to be shared. And when you share and you radiate that, that's the vibration you're vibrating on. And all things are possible. And whatever it is that you desire, it will flow to you naturally in the perfect divine time. And you will unfold and become more of who and what it is that you're called to be in that process. So celebrate the amount of time it takes. Don't worry about how long it's taking. Don't be looking at other people talking about how fast they're doing stuff. Stay in your lane and run your race, and know that your life is unfolding perfectly. And it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story that God is telling as you.
Can I get an amen? I feel like I'm in church right now. My favorite kind of church. Church. You guys, that right there. I mean, nothing needs to be said after that. It really made me think of Wayne Dyer. I love that man. He said, "Man was made for joy and woe." And when we go rightly forward in righteousness, knowing that, there's painful situations, but we were made for it. We were made to experience that, the duality of it. So embrace it and don't judge it. Just as a baby is made to fall, we're made for joy and woe. And we're made for it because it allows us to experience the joy. And so it's all perfect. It's all beautiful. What a phenomenal call. What a phenomenal thing. You know, if you're watching this recording or you've been keeping up with the reading of the book, with the tuning in, celebrate that in itself. How many people have not done that, right? Have not continued on the path. So that in itself is just such a massive, huge celebration. You know, if you've committed to this book and, you know, to the journey, it's just absolutely celebrate that. So thank you so much, Kay. You add so much value for Chris, for leading us to Kay and having her join this group. I mean, you know, you couldn't put out how it could get any better than to have Kay being, you know, a trainer on this, you know, amazing group of people. So thank you so much, Kay. I just, I get goosebumps when you speak. I know everybody else does the same. So we love you. Nobody more deserving than John Astor. Oh, hold on. I have one more hand raise. I'm going to let him finish us out. Mr. Markaby, a dear friend of mine who doesn't speak often. So when he speaks, I know he's thought about what he's going to say. Jason, are you with us?
Yes. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, everyone. Kay, I just thank you for sharing so much. Much of our discussion tonight has been about faith, and it's so interesting because that's what my pastor spoke about so much today was about faith, and the verse that Kay shared and about moving mountains, and many of God's promises come with a condition. We don't like conditions, but they do come with conditions. And it's only because I think it's part of the relationship. But anyway, he often says, I will if you will. And that moving mountains, and he is concerned about the relationship between us and our fellow man. You mentioned at the very end, it says, if you have unforgiveness in your heart, you need to go and make that right. It also says that if someone has done aught against you, in other words, they have offended you, it is their responsibility to make it right, but it's also my responsibility to make it right. And neither one of us is off the hook. But that's the condition to receiving. We cut off the flow of blessing from God when those relationships are not righteous. And that's really the only thing I wanted. There's so much more I could share, but I don't. Kay touched on that, and I thought it really deserves. We often speak about what we deserve, and I've meditated on that a lot. And what we deserve is to know the truth. And I think unequivocally, we deserve to know the whole truth. And everything else, I believe we need to work for. But we do deserve to know the truth. And so thank you. That's all I got.
Love it. Oh, I love it when you share, because it is, you know, we all do deserve it. And as we know the truth, then that work that we get into can be so easy when we know the work of the truth. So, love you, Jason. Thank you. All right, Mr. Adam. All right, this got to be our last one. I got some people waiting on me up over here in Australia, but we always got time for Mr. Adam and Jason. All right, my love, share with us. Hello, Adam. Adam, you had your hand raised, unless it was an accident. All right, are you speaking? Are you guys hearing him? I don't know if your speaker's working, bud. Hold on. Unmute yourself. You just muted yourself. Try unmuting yourself one more time. All right, try speaking. Well, I'll speak on behalf of Adam when I say that he has enjoyed this group fully, and we're going to work on his microphone, and he's going to speak at the next one. All right. So, all right, I don't know what the dealio is, but between Miss Whitson and Mr. Holsworth, we're going to work on our microphones so you guys can share on the next one, because you guys, I know, have a lot of value to add. So, all right, great call. Love you all. Next week, chapters 10 and 11. So let us, cause and effect. Yeah. And conditions. They are all fantastic illusions. In my journal where I write in real time, I have it as illusionary time. So there's my creative workshop and manifesting section, and then there is the illusion of time section of what's kind of the illusion and the conditions that are going on around me. So it's fun. All right, we will see you guys next week. Thanks everyone for joining, and I'll get the recording up. Bye. Happy New Year's. It'll be a new year when we start talking next time. How awesome. Everybody have a great new year. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Kay.